The all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe is getting recalled. Now, what's special about this? Lots and lots of vehicles get recalled every year.
Well, we actually owned one of these all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe's, and we had not one but two transmission failures, and Hyundai bought it back to figure out what was going on. And this recall is finally giving us insight to what's going on with these transmissions. Let's go ahead and get into it.
So to start off here, we'll just quickly recap a little bit of our ownership experience. The last update we had about our Santa Fe was a couple months ago, and basically what happened was that we bought one of the first 2024 all-new Hyundai Santa Fe's in the country. We had a transmission issue at mile 27 that resulted in a complete transmission replacement, and then we owned the vehicle for another about 2,500 miles and had a second transmission issue. At that point, Hyundai then offered to buy back our Santa Fe. We sold it back to them, and they took it down to their factory in Alabama to study it and try to figure out what was going on with it.
Now, when Hyundai bought the vehicle back, we only knew of a few cases of similar incidents, but since then, we have gotten tons and tons of comments from people that have said they have the same issues, and we're also part of a Facebook group that has also said that they have a lot of the same issues and that their vehicle is back at the dealership. Now, we forwarded as many of those as we could to Hyundai to make sure that they could figure out exactly what was wrong with these Santa Fe's.
And now that brings us to this recall, where we get some insight into exactly what was going on with these transmission issues. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of open up the exact text and read to you how Hyundai describes this issue. So the description of the defect Hyundai provided to the NHTSA goes like this. The dual clutch transmission in the subject vehicles could become damaged during normal operation due to transmission control unit software logic that could inadvertently engage the clutches and damage the transmission case and or parking pawl. A damaged transmission case and or parking pawl may cause noise within the transmission and or allow for vehicle rollaway while in park. Now let me give you the layman's translation of that. Basically, the software in the transmission could cause it to damage itself. And then after it damaged itself, that could cause, obviously, further issues, such as that rollaway issue that Hyundai is discussing in that comment there. So that's certainly very interesting to learn about what is going on right there.
Yeah, now, as far as how many vehicles this affects, Hyundai says it affects around 12,000 units. Actually, I think it's a little over 12,000 units. It's 100% of Santa Fe gas models. So that is an important thing to mention here. If we're talking about the hybrid, it has a completely different transmission. So it is only the gas models with the 8-speed dual clutch transmissions that are affected, and it affects units produced until July the 2nd. So that was the end of kind of their cutoff of the recall units.
Now, of course, the most important part about a recall is the fix. How is this going to be fixed? And Hyundai does have a very detailed plan in place to fix this recall. So on the website, the NHTSA's website, they have submitted a detailed plan where you can see actually all the steps that they are going to go through for the inspection of those 12,000 SUVs, because all of those SUVs are going to need to come in and be inspected at the Hyundai dealership. And basically, here's what's going to happen. So they have some tests that they're going to perform. The first one is called the static test, and what they're going to be doing here is just taking the transmission and just going from neutral to drive, neutral to park, neutral to reverse, back and forth, just making sure that everything is indeed functioning correctly and that you are, of course, not experiencing any type of rollaway sensation or anything unusual in that regard. The other thing they're going to do is the creep test. So they're going to put the vehicle into drive, and then they're going to let off the brake and let it kind of take off on its own to make sure that you're not experiencing any types of hesitation or juddering. Now, if you've seen our previous updates, we experienced juddering was our main problem, where the transmission just didn't seem like it was engaging properly. So that's something they're going to be checking for, and that's how they're going to be able to determine if your transmission has been damaged by that improper software that was installed. Now, there is some situation where that may not be the case. If that's not the case, then all your Santa Fe is going to have to do is just get a software update to the new system, which will not have this problem anymore. But if you do experience any of those issues, they have said that the solution to this is going to be a transmission replacement.
Now, obviously, this is not an ideal situation, but I have to say we are happy that Hyundai is finally coming out with a solution and a fix to this problem. When we owned the vehicle before they bought it back, it certainly was very concerning to us that we were having repeated transmission issues, and, people were still buying the vehicle and they hadn't necessarily figured out what exactly was wrong. So I'm happy to say that Hyundai is finally addressing this issue, and, that they can address it and fix it before other people buy Santa Fe's.
We, of course, originally bought the Santa Fe so that we could show everybody our ownership experience, and we did end up, of course, being kind of on the front lines of this issue. It is very curious how the software is actually making the transmission, in essence, harm itself.
Yeah.
Cars are they're really complicated these days.
I have to say, though, it does make a lot of sense in hindsight, because when we experience the issue the second time, you're like, what are the odds of having two defective transmissions put into a vehicle after they put a new one in? It just didn't make a lot of sense. So it does seem to make a lot more sense that the TCU was essentially allowing that transmission to harm itself, and then, your transmissions go bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So it should be said, at this point, all the new ones, this issue has been corrected. You should not experience this issue on any future Santa Fe models. And we're, hoping, obviously, that Hyundai is going to get this fixed for the current owners as quickly as possible so that they can get back to enjoying their otherwise excellent SUV. I mean, as you know from our ownership experience, we had really only positive things to say about it, minus the fact that we kept having the recurring transmission issue.
Yeah, it's a very surprisingly good vehicle. And also the hybrid is a fantastic choice as well. So I want to point that out, too. If you're really leery about this transmission issue, which maybe you should be, get the hybrid. It has a completely different transmission setup. Or, of course, you can look within Hyundai's own lineup at something like a Palisade, for instance, which also uses a different transmission.
Yep, that's very true. And like we said, we bought the Santa Fe for you guys, and it should be said that we now have a 2025 Toyota Camry, which we also bought for you guys. This is our new long-term model. We're actually setting in it right now. We're at the beginning kind of our ownership experience with this model as well, and we are providing all types of ownership updates on this model and things that you guys would probably find interesting. So not just, reliability issues, hopefully we won't have any of those, but also things like fuel economy, because this is a hybrid model, different types of testing, all types of stuff.
Yeah. So if you're interested at all in the Camry, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We're doing a lot of these long-term tests that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. If you're looking to buy any new vehicle, we would also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because there's a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But guys, that is where we're going to leave off on this recall video. Like Drew said, we just wanted to update you guys on the latest and greatest. Of course, we don't any longer own the Santa Fe, but I know a lot of you guys that are subscribed to our channel either own one or are definitely very interested in purchasing one, so we wanted to provide you the latest and greatest details, especially when it comes to the transmission issues that we faced with this model. So thanks so much for joining in, and if you're part of our family, thank you so much for being a part of it. If you're not already, we want to encourage you by hitting that subscribe button down below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.